Have you ever walked away from a conversation and thought something felt off, but you couldn't quite explain why? Maybe they were charming, too charming. They knew exactly what to say, the right tone, the right smile, the right silence. They watched your reactions like a hawk in slow motion, calculating, dissecting, decoding. And before you realized it, they had mapped you, read you, controlled you. But how? How do sociopaths read people like a book? More importantly, what happens when you begin to read yourself? Sociopaths operate not with emotional depth, but with emotional precision. They don't feel what you feel, but they understand what feelings do. They observe with the cold attentiveness of a surgeon. Body language, eye contact, micro-expressions, hesitation, tone shifts. Everything becomes data. While most people engage with emotion as experience, sociopaths engage with it as strategy. And here's the chilling part. They don't need years to understand you. Sometimes just a few minutes is enough. They're watching how you respond to praise, how quickly you apologize, how long you hold eye contact when challenged. Every detail becomes a breadcrumb, and they follow the trail right into your psyche. You're not paranoid. You're predictable. Unless you start becoming aware of your own patterns. Have you ever answered a message too quickly, revealed too much in the first conversation, felt the urge to explain yourself to someone who barely knows you? That impulse is vulnerability in motion. It's a flashing sign that reads, "Here I am, eager to be understood, even if it costs me clarity or power." Sociopaths don't just notice it. They capitalize on it. They test you subtly. They interrupt. They go silent. They contradict you just slightly. And when you rush to restore harmony, you've confirmed it. You're emotionally invested, too early, too fast, and that's how the hook is set. But what would change if you chose silence instead of an immediate reaction? If you let discomfort linger? If you allowed someone else to reveal themselves before you tried to fill the space with your own narrative? What if your presence became a question mark instead of a diary entry? Sociopaths thrive in noise, the mental clutter of people who can't stop explaining, pleasing, reacting. Every word you give becomes ammunition, every overreaction, a blueprint. But silence, intentional, poised, observing silence, unnerves them. Because silence flips the power dynamic. It demands effort. It forces the other person to step forward, to guess, to reveal. And in that vacuum, truth emerges. Not just theirs, but yours. Silence isn't withdrawal, it's precision. It's the pause that separates impulse from insight. It's the invisible armor of those who no longer fear being misunderstood, because they've finally begun to understand themselves. Here's a hard truth. Charm is rarely about them. It's about you. Sociopaths don't charm everyone equally. They tailor it to your wounds, your longings, your ego. Did you grow up unheard? They'll listen intensely. Do you crave validation? They'll compliment you strategically. Are you used to chaos? They'll offer stability at first. They reflect your unmet needs back at you, like a mirror you never realized you were staring into. But once they've earned your trust, they invert the script subtly. What was once warmth becomes control. What was once attention becomes surveillance. And you begin to feel tethered. But the mirror, that's where your power begins. Because when you identify what hooks you, what makes you sway, what ignites your loyalty without merit, you no longer play the game. You rewrite the rules. Sociopaths appear emotionally detached. But this is not strength. It's strategy. True strength, emotional intelligence. It's not about numbing your feelings. It's about knowing them. A sociopath may manipulate your guilt, but only if you don't understand its origin. They may provoke your jealousy, but only if you lack the self-worth to disengage. When you master your internal responses, when you trace the why behind each emotion, you become unplayable. Because now, your emotions are not tools for others. They're signals for you. They don't control you anymore. They inform you. You no longer react, you respond. And that response is terrifying to those who rely on your impulsiveness to gain control. Picture this. Someone challenges your values, directly, harshly. Your instinct? Defend, explain, convince. But what if you didn't? What if you observed, paused, considered? What if you said nothing? That pause, that refusal to be provoked, becomes a declaration. I choose clarity over chaos. Sociopaths cannot operate in environments where people respond instead of react, because reflection breaks their rhythm. It forces them to recalibrate. And sometimes that's all it takes for their interest to vanish. Because if they can't control you, they lose interest in you. What they want isn't connection, it's leverage. And when you take away your emotional availability as a commodity, they move on. Good. Let them. Many of us were taught that strength is loud, defensive, relentless. But real strength? It's quiet. It's the woman who doesn't explain her boundaries. She just enforces them. It's the man who walks away from manipulation, not with anger, but with certainty. It's the individual who smiles in silence, because they know that peace isn't something you beg for. It's something you build. Sociopaths crave chaos, because in chaos they lead. But in stillness, they have no audience, they have no leverage, they have no stage. And that's where you win. There's a moment, a powerful moment, when you realize that you don't need to be read like a book. You can become a closed chapter, not cold, not distant, just composed, measured, intentional. You don't speak to be heard, you speak to be understood. You don't offer access, you offer presence. You no longer chase clarity through someone else's words. You find it in your own silence. And in that shift, you stop being the character in their story and become the author of your own. You don't need a dramatic confrontation to reclaim your power. It starts in the small moments, not replying immediately to emotional bait, choosing space instead of oversharing, observing the room before entering the conversation, letting discomfort breathe instead of trying to fix it instantly. Each choice is subtle, but it compounds. And soon, you become someone people can't read easily, because you're no longer reacting from wounds, but responding from wisdom. And that's unreadable by design. Here's the truth. You don't need to match manipulation with confrontation. You don't need to win their game. You only need to stop playing it. And once you do, everything changes. Not because they're different, but because you are. You're not led by approval, urgency, or insecurity. You're led by awareness, intention, and self-trust. They might still try to read you, but there's nothing left on the page. Only white space, only silence, only you. So the next time someone seems to know you too well, too fast, pause, watch. Observe not just them, but yourself. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't being read. It's being unreadable to yourself. And when you finally become fluent in your own patterns, when you understand your triggers, your silence, your shadows, you're no longer the prey, you're the mystery. And mystery cannot be manipulated. Not anymore. If this resonated with you, remember, clarity is power. Silence is strategy. Self-awareness is freedom. Don't just protect your energy, understand it. Because once you do, no one can read you like a book again, unless you let them.